is moving from limited to unlimited consciousness. If I say, I'm Rashmi and I'm this bodily being, I'm a female, I'm from India, I'm a Hindu, these are all my limited beliefs. But the unlimited consciousness is when I know that I am a soul and everybody around me also is a soul. And we all belong to the one God, the Father, and we are all his children. We are brothers, and we are all playing our roles on this world stage. We all are hero actors. So in a limited drama, there is just one hero. But in this unlimited drama, we all are hero actors, hero of our own roles. So when I look at myself this way, when I have such big self-respect, and when I know that I'm a child of God, I feel very powerful and I feel very safe and secure. And when I'm in that high stage, elevated stage, the situation and the uncertainties look so small that it feels like I can go through them very easily. So I think we can understand this better with an example. So it is my own experience. A few years ago, I was working for a startup company, and our company got bought over by another company, which also was a startup. So it was a merger. So when the two companies merged together, there were a lot of changes that were happening, like the work location and the cultures of the two companies were not the same, exactly the same. So there were a lot of changes. So the applications from our old company had to be merged into the other application. So there are a lot of infrastructural changes as well. So and also I was moved between projects and teams. So there were basically a lot of changes that was happening, and there were a lot of moving pieces. So in the midst of that, even my managers change quite frequently, and you can understand if the managers change that frequently. So every manager has their own style of working and their expectations. So every time we had to adapt to the new manager and their working style. So that added a lot of work, and it seemed very unnecessary. And after some time, I had to work with one manager with whom I found it very difficult to work with because there are two approaches. So one is that I trust you unless you prove me otherwise. I trust you unless you prove me otherwise. And there is another approach. I don't trust you unless you prove me otherwise. And to be working with somebody with the second approach is very difficult because I had to put in a lot more effort to prove myself at every step. And with so much happening around and with so many things that is going on around, so to put that extra effort to prove myself every time was so overwhelming. And it seemed like as though he was so discontent with me. And it was so much that I didn't feel like going to work, because when you're working for somebody and that person is so discontent with you and you're not able to do much about it, and it was so difficult to even reason with that person. So to as a gist, I was in a big storm at work. So there was so much going on in my mind. So one day I got up for my morning meditation that we call Amrit Vela, where we sit in God's remembrance. So that morning, there was so much going on in my mind about work. And I sat for meditation, but I couldn't remember God. I couldn't sit in his remembrance. And I told him, see, I'm not able to remember you. I know I am supposed to remember you, but I'm not able to. And I don't want to pretend like I'm trying to remember you. I just want to sit with my problems today and just sit and complain. as though I just wanted to surrender myself to all my problems and want to talk about it. And as though I felt like Baba, we call him Baba, and um, God. He told like, you do what you're supposed to do. I'll just be here. Uh, so I kept on complaining about things, and mainly about my manager, because my manager was the face of all my problems, because I also could justify with his behavior. So I went on that he never appreciates, he doesn't recognize, and my managers keep changing this, that. So it went on, and after a little while, I heard a voice in my mind that I am your manager. And I had never thought about this, that God can be my manager. It was God who said that I am your manager. It was something I had never thought of and I had never heard of. And that moment gave me so much relief, that as though a lump in my chest was removed. I felt very relieved. Yes, God is my manager. And that manager at work is just my brother who needs help from me. So in that one moment, my self-respect, or my stage was elevated so high that I'm working for God. And I was so happy to go to work that day, that I'm going to work for God. And I'm going to help my little brother, that is my manager, at work. And I'll go and help him to trust me. So the situation turned around when I changed, when that experience changed my mindset from limited to the unlimited. I became so big, and the situation started looking so small. And when I was going through that situation, there were so many complaints that my managers are changing and he doesn't appreciate me, he doesn't recognize, I cannot talk to him, he doesn't guide me. And all those vanished, because now my manager is God and he does all that. My manager never changes, he remains the same. He always appreciates me, is always there to guide me. So all my complaints vanished in a second with that experience and with that understanding and perspective. So whenever we have questions, they are like little locks in our intellects. They stop us from thinking clearly, as though we can't think of solutions, and they make us prisoners. And constantly, by having questions and complaints, it drains our energy. Why did this happen to me? How could it happen? What did I do? It drains so much of our energy, and our complaints justify our pain. Of course, I'll be painful. Of course, I'll be angry. So we don't try to do anything about removing that pain.